Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and today's episode, again, an interesting episode. I'm going to analyze some old photos of my old room. Okay, so again, in the last few episodes, I've been posting some, pictures of me and my friends and how we've progressed on, of the many years and that kind of stuff. But I ran across a few of the photos and I realized, this is the good time to go through and carefully analyze and point out some of the things in some various photos. Okay, so we'll go over some of the things in the history of that. Okay, so before we begin, I want to remind people to go down below and click like and click subscribe. Again, YouTube really measures the success of a video by basically how people interact with it. So again, if you just like to just press the like and maybe write a comment about how cool the things that from your era happen to be or whatever, then by all means just write a comment there, put a thumbs up or something like that. YouTube likes to take that into account. Okay. I also have the super thanks as well as the PayPal and the Patreon on the videos. Again, those for all the new content and that kind of stuff I've been doing. I'm sort of sorting that all out. I've really posted the new sort of a directory listing of some of the things. I'll be sending out the links in the next little bit. Just been a little bit busy trying to get all the stuff put together, but yeah, I've been doing lots of emphasis on trying to get my ebook and a whole bunch of different videos and that stuff complementing that. I'm slowly trying to work on trying to figure out how to put animations together and whatnot with that. So again, that's sort of the thing that I'm working on right now. As well as I'm working on a new mashup music video kind of thing there. So just little things like that I'm working on. But again, I'll get that out in the next week or so. Okay, so again, that's good. One good way to support me there. This episode, I'm also working on a lot of obviously things when I was pulling up these pictures and that kind of stuff. I'm also working on one of the songs I kind of regenerated, and so I'll post that at the end of the video as well when I get that up. So just the last of those the things I've got put together. So again, this sort of the things that I've been working on. So definitely lots of things regarding that. So again, you can check that on the Patreon to see what's going on in there. All right. So today's episode, again, I was gonna get into some different photos and that kind of stuff. So again, I have a whole bunch of pictures that I've taken back, when I had my old room, my old store, and that kind of stuff. And now is a good time for me to pull those out and actually go through them in a little more detail. And I'm actually pretty happy that I actually took some of these pictures and I was sort of really open about the have a camera with loaded film in it, and then people, allow people to basically pick it up and take pictures and snapshots and that kind of stuff. It's a freely type of thing that to get pictures that are sort of candid and also unexpected. Okay, and I did have some pictures that came up with this, which is really good. And so I'm going to go through some of them in this episode to help sort of people see the context of the video, but also see some of the things that were apparent in the video, so it kind of gives you and frames the event more accurately. And that's what I'm always trying to do with this channel, is to basically help you paint a picture and get in your mind what the atmosphere was like in this time. Because again, this is sort of a kind of a historical type of thing where we're trying to bring out what the environment was like. And try to share that to you, because obviously what we have today is nothing like what we had in the past, and to try to make it more clear to the people who are like yourself who are watching, give you sort of hopefully a clear idea of what some of the things have transpired and what things were like in the past as compared to what it is in the future that we have now. Okay, so without further delay, let's get into some of these pictures. Okay, so I'll start with this picture. This is my room when it was in 1993, and here we have Bill, Booj, and Ron in the picture, and we're basically just sitting and posing for this picture. And now I'm gonna go through and sort of look at some of the details that are in this picture and in the background, just to give you the sort of close up from what I can tell from this picture. All right. Okay, so I'll start with the posters against the back wall. So right again, against my wall that's right in front of my computers, is we have a Orange Road poster. That's just a nice classic picture of Madoka in the traditional dress. Really, really nice. That's one of my favorite Kimi Takeda style drawings. And you may notice a lot of the pictures I have are, very similar artists, and the Kimi Takeda is definitely one of them. The next big poster is a Pat Labor picture with a unit unit one with Noah right beside her, right? So SV2, and right beside that one is the movie poster for Lika, Magical Girl Lika. Again, that's one of the ones that we did the fan sub for, and the artwork's done by Kimi Takada. Now, next to that one is the poster for Bastard. Now, that, of course, sitting right in front of that is one of those Radio Shack speakers. Now, again, I told you the story about how I got these speakers at the really discounted prices. Again, I'll just really quick go over it. How we basically, when we run the Radio Shacks, you are in charge of, everything that's you have to do with the store. So that's inventory, stocking, ordering, and all that kind of stuff. So basically, when we get the notifications that of an upcoming flyer or whatever, you can order stuff, to suit that flyer. So one of the things that they did is that, so this particular speaker was going to be going on clearance. And usually what that means is that, it's a certain price, regular price, but because it's going to go on clearance, it's going to be, marked on sale for 50% off. Okay. That's what that's the big disco clearance. They're gonna try to clear out the warehouse. So to give you the opportunity to order one, so I said, okay, well, I could use some some small speakers and that kind of stuff. They're not really that small, but you can see the size of them; they're pretty big. But they decided, okay, I want to order one of those things, right? And so I can't remember exactly how much they were, but I think they're like. Retail price was like $299, so like $300, and they're going to go on sale on clearance for $150, right, 50% off. And so I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to order a pair of those, and I'm going to hide them in the store, because I want to buy a brand new untouched pair. Okay, so it goes in, so I order a pair, you hide them in the back, and just kind of forget about it, right? And what happens is that. When Radio Shack has it, it goes down to 50%, and they promo it for that month, and then it drops from being on clearance to be becoming discontinued, right? What happens then is that every month that goes by in discontinued status, it drops another 10%. Okay. So literally after a year, roughly 9 months, 10 months, a year, the thing drops like 90% of its original value, the clearance value, right? So from $300, it's down to $150, and then from $150, it keeps dropping all the way down to literally $15. Okay, and then then at that time, then it's the perfect time to buy it. But even then. What usually happens is the other thing that usually happens is that once a year at Christmas time, the corporate people will send all the employees this glorifying letter saying that, oh, we thank you for your great service and your dedication to Radio Shack, and we'd like to thank all our employees with this discount letter, right? And it's usually a 20% discount on one purchase, right? So, and usually it's around Christmas time. So basically, we'll gather all the stuff that we ever wanted for Christmas and all the discontinued stuff that we've been hiding in the back and all that stuff. We'll bring it all out, and then we buy it all with one purchase and use the discount letter to get an extra 20% off that. So basically, you could have this speaker that's $150. And then went all, like originally $300, went down to $150, went all the way down to $15, and then I'm gonna buy it at Christmas time, so I get another 20% off, and so it makes it like $10 or something like that for like a $300 speaker. So those are good times. Good times. Anyway, so just continue that is the bastard speaker, a bastard poster that's on top of one of those Radio Shack speakers that I got. Okay, the other little sort of point that I'm going to point out is that there's a small poster between the Madoka and the Pat Labor poster that's hanging on the wall. And I'm going to zoom up on it. This is a picture of that was drawn by my friend David Ng, and it is of U2, basically portrayed from the Joshua Tree album. This is a complete pencil drawing, okay, with sketches and that kind of stuff, and he basically colored it all using different H and HB type pencils, and he basically drew this entire thing and shaded it, cross shaded it in, as well as he framed it in a small little border. And he gave me this one because I had the entire huge wall of musical artists, and he drew this in one of his classes, and he gave me this poster, and I basically had it sticking in front of my computer right there. And so that's the story behind that. And again, Dave Ng was the guy again who also drew that K drawing on Andrew's cast when he broke his arm. So that's the Dave that I was referring to. He's also the guy that I got my Chinese version of Orgus and Mospida when I first got into anime and that kind of stuff. Okay, so again, it's okay. Not much of showing there, but on the very right hand side, left hand side there, you'll see a small sort of IKEA display case. Okay, it's one of those 2 shelf CD shelves, and I converted it into a shelf to hold figurines. And although you can't see the whole thing, the 2 most notable figures that you can see on the top shelf of the figurine display is I have first of all the one of the Dirty Pair. This is Yuri standing upright, and that's again I got my Yuri. I should have a K, but I don't remember where I put her. So in that time, I just put the one display of the Yuri in this display case. Okay. Right standing next to Yuri is a Galaxy Frontline Yuna in her armor, standing beside her. And again, those are the 2 pictures that you can easily see from this picture on there. Okay, in this zoom up of the shot, I'm sitting beside a box of 3.5-inch floppy diskettes, and this particular one I went through in one of my videos talking about the Game Doctor, or the sort of Super Nintendo game system accessory kit, which I mentioned in a previous episode. Anyway, I went through it and documented what was actually in this box, and the various different games and that kind of stuff that were in there. Which leads me to believe that beside this is the entertainment stand that contains the Super Nintendo with the Game Doctor unit. And again, this is gives you an indication that there's a wide variety of games that use that Game Doctor in that. And I was thinking at the time, I think Street Fighter and Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy was always obviously the really big ones that we played a lot on the Super Nintendo at that particular time. And and again, we went through all those various different games. You can check up the link below for the video that talks about that. Okay, just to finalize the video, other than anything that's sort of obvious that I've got there, just to basically go over the 4 people that are in the picture, obviously. So right behind me is Bill Jang. He's again the one of the people that worked on my newsletter. He did a lot of issues of the prototype newsletter, as well as he also did all the BBS work for the prototype generation BBS. He was my IT guy, as it were, right? He also went down to San Diego with me, and he got one of the jobs working at Academy Comics for doing some of the Robotech comics. And again, you can go and check some videos that I have referred to our convention trips. Standing beside Bill is Mujib. Okay, He's also did some of the fan subbing and that kind of stuff. He did the a lot of work around the Macross Plus fan subs we did. He also is an aspiring artist, and he also went down with one of our trips with Bill and I down to San Diego Comic Con, and he also managed to land a position at Academy Comics to do a couple of the Macross comics that Academy had put out at that particular time. Okay, and right beside me, sitting down on the chair, is Ron. Okay. He was one of the very first people that I met when I going to UBC through, again, Dave Ing, and we have many stories of us doing things when we were going like I said, to university at that particular time, and then they had at my very first place that I started with in the basement. In my first Bassin residence. Okay, so here we are, sort of hanging out together, playing some games, checking out some of the new stuff that I got from Wasay Bookstore and whatnot, and basically having sort of our normal time without actually having hanging out at the store, because this time we didn't actually have the store located yet. Anyway, I'm going to have to spend more episodes talking about some more of these classic pictures and some of the elements that are in the pictures. Okay, so I hope you found that really interesting, and hope you now have a better idea of some of the stuff that we are, obviously have gone through, and what sort of the environment that we're living in, and also just gives you an idea of some of the the stuff that was available to us at this particular time, because obviously the things of collectible nature, memorabilia, and things like that. It was different, right? So the way the information and that kind of stuff travels is really different. Okay, so I'll catch you in the next episode where hopefully you'll get into more things about the past, and of course I'll get into more episodes of of videos and that kind of stuff as I continue the countdown through the 90s. All right, so until next time, I will see you again.